Spooky Mysteries is presented by the Mile High Freedom Bands.
Good evening. You've arrived on a rather special night. It's one of MHFB's affairs. The 10th affair, as a matter of fact. 10 years of Spooktacular. Aren't you lucky? We certainly have quite the night planned for you this evening. What you are about to see is a result of months of planning, preparation, and an exceptional effort by a production crew learning on the fly. Before we get this thing started, I need to take a moment and say a few things. First, to our board of directors. Like everyone, we are navigating an entirely new world, one that hits the performing arts especially hard. I'm proud to say that MHFB has weathered the storm thus far. Our board has made decisions that protect the health and safety of our members first and foremost, and we are in a solid position to come out of this on the other side. The leadership of our board will help continue to ensure that that is the case. Second, to our members. It's so hard not hanging out together on Tuesdays and Thursdays, making music, chatting, joking, laughing, and the big hugs. But what we have been able to do has been extraordinary. We have kept music alive for ourselves and for our band family. We have kept music and performances alive for our community. Together, we have kept the spirit of MHFB alive. No matter how long this lasts, there is no doubt that our family will be back together again one day soon. Third, to my husband, Brad. He throws himself into the hurricane of my crazy ideas full force. You're going to once again hear his words tonight as he wrote the play for tonight's show, his 5th Spooky. This band has given us incredible projects to work on together and brought amazing friends and family into our lives. Looking back on the nearly 20 years that Brad and I have spent together, I can't imagine not being on this journey with him. Next, to my best friend, Drew. There is no way tonight's production would be what it's about to be without him. When we first started getting into this, he started coming up with ideas even crazier than I was, and that's saying a lot. He took over most of the post-production and editing and churned out scene after scene at a level that I could have only dreamt of. His talents and skills are going to be on display tonight from the first to the last scene of the show. Beyond this incredible work, he's also been a great friend and support to me, not just in this process, but every day. Finally, thank you for being here. Even though we're not in the creepy old church at Grand Avenue, I hope you thoroughly enjoy yourself tonight. If you haven't put your costume on yet, there's still time. Make sure you post photos on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter with the hashtag MHFBSpooky. Just like the 9 spookies that have come before, this is going to be a unique and hopefully outstanding experience. Before we get to the main event at 7, let's have a bit of fun with a little pre-show entertainment. Enjoy.
Coming this October on Spooky Mysteries, the story of an alien enthusiast visited by UFOs her entire life. Actual close encounters, or merely a hoax? In Boulder, Colorado, 2 college students experience a night of demonic possession they'll never forget. Now, over 20 years later, the incident still remains unexplained. All the while, watch as the talented, versatile musicians of the Mile High Freedom Bands show off their skills and entertain you. These stories will feature extraterrestrials, demonic possession, stolen artifacts, and much more. Perhaps you can help. You may be able to help solve a mystery. And while you're doing it, enjoy a virtual time with the Mile High Freedom Bands and our 10th annual Spooktacular. That's right, the Denver tradition of spooky fun and costumes and acting and music continues one more year. Just how will we do it? Find out.
10 years ago, MHFB launched what would become our most popular event, Spooktacular. This year, we're taking the tradition into your living room. Tune in on October 24th for Spooky Mysteries, a monumental movie event that you won't want to miss.
Hello everybody, my name is Brandon Lujan, president of the Mile High Freedom Bands. I'd like to welcome each one of you guys tonight to our first virtual performance for Spooktacular, Spooky 10.
Hi, my name's Leah Phillips, and I'm the current vice president of the Mile High Freedom Bands. Welcome to our 10th anniversary show of Spooktacular.
Hi, my name is Heather. I'm a vocalist with the Mile High Freedom Bands. I've been involved with Spooky in some fashion or other for the past 10 years.
Hi, I'm Derek Gaber, and I've been a part of the Mile High Freedom Band since our second Spooktacular.
It was the summer of 2010. Mile High Freedom Band at the time, this was our old logo back then, no S, had just finished our first major tentpole production of Melodies of Pride at Cheeseman Park. The band was growing exponentially at the time, where we were gaining members on a regular basis, and we needed to hire an artistic director. And so we did. We found Rice Majors.
Hello, my name is Rice Majors, and I had the pleasure of conducting the Mile High Freedom Band from 2010 to 2013.
The board was looking to do another tentpole at the beginning of the season to kind of anchor our season. And at a first board meeting of that next year, we told Rice we were looking for a tentpole. We started brainstorming some ideas. We really wanted to make a huge production of Halloween. It's huge for our culture and our community. So, Rice took that information, went home, crunched the numbers, wrote some stories, thought some music, came back to the board meeting in October, gave us his idea. He laid out 10 different years of Spooky for us. We were impressed.
When I began conducting the band, I was tasked with developing a signature Halloween event, and the idea for Spooktacular was born. Our vision was to create a family-oriented Halloween event produced by the Mile High Freedom Band. Each year's performance would be focused on a Halloween theme and would feature guest artists, repertoire, and costumes fitting that theme.
It ended up being so successful, it is our signature event now.
The first year was a very different Spooky than the Spooky we know now. More of a concert with dancing, some vocalists. I was a volunteer that year and really enjoyed the show. The second year started to move towards more of a storyline. I played the violin that year, mostly the flute and the clarinet parts, I think. And then I've been a singer and an actor with Spooky ever since.
When I first joined the band, it was during the short summer rehearsals for Melodies of Pride. So when the fall came and it was time for Spooky, I was having my first experience as a full member of the band and the organization. To say that I was a little overwhelmed was an understatement. I mean, how do you even describe what Spooky is? The closest I've been able to come is a play with a band concert, with a musical, with a Halloween bazaar, with trick-or-treating, with costumes.
The audience would be encouraged to wear costumes, and there would be opportunities for the audience to participate in the performance. We wanted to create a safe indoor event, both celebrating the secular traditions of Halloween and giving families, and especially LGBT families, a trusted environment in which to celebrate this fun holiday.
We have afternoon shows for the kids, evening shows for the adults. We all dress up in costumes. We have actors. We also had great marketing. We created these shirts, Hey Boo, and other shirts beyond that. So we've had a great 10 years doing this.
When I became artistic director in the spring of 2014, Spooky was both my blessing and a curse. I absolutely loved the idea, but I was terrified of really messing it up. That only got worse when we were a couple of months before the show and we still didn't even have a performance space. Fortunately, it all worked out and Spooky 4 went off without a hitch.
Spooktacular holds a special place in most of our hearts. We each have our favorite memories.
I think the favorite time I ever had with costumes was my friend Anne dressed up as Wonder Woman on roller skates. And so it was really fun.
My favorite memory comes from 2016. It was Spooky 6, Spooky in Space. That year we played a variety of space-themed music, and the storyline that year happened to be speed dating, which kind of fit perfectly for what I had in store and planned. I had talked to Derek about taking some time during the show, and he let me have it, which I thought was really awesome. But that was the year that I actually proposed to my husband, Zephaniah Morrow. I was so nervous. I remember I couldn't play the song right before it was about to happen, and my throat just dried up on me. Fortunately, I had a bottle of water right next to me, and I drank that thing so fast. And then it was my turn. I had to get up, and I had to speak in front of everybody. And most of you guys know I don't like speaking. I don't like doing this. But I got in front of everybody. With the help of Shannon, he took me over to Zeph's side of the band because I was on the other. And he helped me guide me through. And I got down on one knee and popped the question. And we are now happily married. It's been 2+ years that we've been married. Together over 5 years. So Spooky definitely does have a very, very happy memory for me. I hope you each have one of yours too.
And the fun thing about Spooky is that it adapts and changes. We try something new. If we like it, if the audience likes it, we do it again. And if not, we don't.
Each year since, it's molded itself to suit the band, the cast, and even the organization as a whole. We've tried some things that worked and some things that maybe didn't work so well. But along the way, we've been laser focused on providing not just a concert or a performance, but an entire experience for anyone coming to watch. A central theme of that remains our family-friendly matinee performance, having this piece as integral as any other part of Spooktacular, and I'm proud that we can offer our community a great event for the entire family. Spooky has grown to be MHFB's biggest and most popular event. Starting with Spooky 7, we started seeing sell-out shows.
Over the last several months, our production team and artistic staff have been working extremely hard to make Spooky even better than being in person. Tonight, I hope you guys will all agree after watching all the hard work and time that went into putting this together.
And we thank our audiences, our band members, our artistic director currently, Derek A. Bear, all the video editing that has happened with him, with all the conducting he's done for all of us, and the editing that Drew LeBon has done. Thanks to Brad as well for all the script writing.
I need to thank Derek A. Bear, our artistic director, for his vision of keeping MHFB moving forward. Without Derek, we would not be here today. I'd also like to thank Brad Gisclair, his husband, who is our production stage manager, who wrote the story. He did all that what you're about to see. It's just truly amazing. So thank you, Brad and Derek, for your guys' time and energy. And it could not have been completed without their cohort and our next president of the Mile High Freedom Band's Drew LeBon. The three of them have been working tirelessly for the last 3 months putting the show together for you guys. So I really hope you enjoy it.
Spooky is definitely its own thing now, and something that has completely fulfilled its intent to be a signature of the Mile High Freedom Bands, and has most definitely become one of my favorite times of year. Well, as long as they keep bringing me back to life after my annual demise, that is. As we got into the summer of 2020, and it became clear that COVID would stop us from being in person anytime soon, as we start planning the fall, the first thought of many of us was, oh no, what about Spooky? And then the creative team got to work.
So we're really excited that we're able to present and keep the tradition of Spooky going.
And I'm so excited about what we're doing this year, which is another way that the band adapts, especially to COVID. Since we haven't been able to play and sing together, we've still tried to connect and share music with each other the best way we can.
It's a spectacular show. Have a great time. Thanks.
So enjoy this year's Spooky. It's a little bit different, but it's going to be fun.
Halloween has always been my favorite holiday, and I hope you enjoy Spooktacular, Spooktacular.
While we're a little sad we can't be in person, that's okay. We're still together virtually. Even though you're not going to be tasting any of my home-baked goodies in the show, they're there with you in spirit. So I hope you guys Enjoy the show as we continue our mission to engage, excite, educate, and entertain.
We hope you enjoyed the Spooky 10 pre-show. This year's Spooky is completely free, but we hope if you're having a good time, you'll consider making a donation to support the bands. Just go to mhfb.org/donate anytime. But now, finally, it's time. The Mile High Freedom Bands are proud to present Spooktacular 10 Spooky Mysteries.
Three, I'll stop Spanish.
This program is about spooky mysteries. Whenever possible, the actual band members and victims have participated in recreating the events. When specified, their names have been changed to protect identities. What you are about to see is not an official news broadcast.
Tonight on Spooky Mysteries, the story of an alien enthusiast visited by UFOs her entire life. Actual close encounters, or merely a hoax. In Boulder, Colorado, two college students experience a night of demonic possession they'll never forget. Now, over 20 years later, the incident still remains unexplained. We'll also examine a case of vandalism and sabotage that caused the dreams of budding entertainer Vanessa Collins to go up in smoke. Perhaps you can help catch the culprit. Tonight's mysteries feature extraterrestrials, demonic possession, stolen artifacts, and so much more. Join us. Perhaps you can help solve a mystery.
Spooky Mysteries is presented by the Mile High Freedom Bands.
Our first story tonight features the plight of a young woman plagued by extraterrestrials her entire life.
As a kid, I used to see them all the time. Sometimes once or twice a month, sometimes every week, since as early as I can remember.
Born and raised in Sioux Falls in the 1960s, Roberta Evans has been an eyewitness to countless UFO sightings.
I thought everyone saw them, since that's how it was for me. In first grade, when it came time to draw a family for the class, show and tell, well, of course I included them in my drawing. Didn't even think twice about it. There was the flying saucer right along with all of us in our house. Next thing I know, I'm sent to the principal's office and had to miss parachute time in PE class. I always loved parachute time, and they took that away from me.
Despite a barrage of appointments with psychiatrists, doctors, and scientists, Roberta never wavered in her claims. Not only did her nightly visitors continue dropping in, they soon began to take action.
The abductions started when I was about 8 or 9. First, Old Man Holmes, just up the street, they took him one night, leaving his wife and kids behind. And then our next door neighbors to the left, an elderly couple, took them both. Just beamed them right up. A few months later, our neighbors to the right, an entire nuclear family, they abducted them all. I saw it every time, just as clear as we're sitting here today.
Rejected with suspicion by family and peers, Roberta soon realized South Dakota was not the place for her. After seeking legal emancipation in 1978, she packed up everything she owned and headed west, relocating to the UFO capital of the U.S., Roswell, New Mexico.
I began to wonder, why not me, I would have gladly gone and checked out what they were doing. It never happened in Sioux Falls, so I thought if it's gonna happen anywhere, it would be Roswell. I bought a trailer there and painted "Take Me to Your Leader" in big block letters on the roof so that they could see it. A few months later, I wasn't sure English was their preferred method of communication, so I had it translated into Esperanto. Painted those letters up there too. I painted ground control to Major Tom on my mailbox in both languages. Still, more neighbors were taken, but never me. And then I thought, maybe they're just nonverbal. And I remembered the 5 tones from that new Steven Spielberg movie. I started taking lessons on any instrument I could. Piccolo, clarinet, tuba, oboe, bagpipes, French horn, harp, wind chimes, accordion, trombone, xylophone. I had recitals with nothing but just those 5 notes. I could play them in bass and treble clefs, and I played them every night. I could play them in my sleep. I got so much practice. But still, nothing.
Faithfully determined to decipher the mysterious criteria of her ever-adjacent visitors, Roberta began a series of tests, both on herself and those abducted.
First, I began to think back to my childhood and the astrological signs of my neighbors taken, trying to look for a pattern. Mr. Holmes was a Virgo, just like me, but that didn't get me very far. Next, I turned to all the personality tests I could find, Myers-Briggs, True Colors, trying to determine how I could classify each of them to see which types were most desirable to the aliens. And then I take the test myself to see how I match. I collected so much data, my living room was full of composition books. I even bought a new mood ring and tried to sync that with the phases of the moon. Finally, I thought maybe it's just a question of career or profession. I'm just a cashier now, but maybe they wanted certain college degrees. So I recently enrolled in community college. I'm thinking communications major is the way to go.
What would inspire extraterrestrials to choose some humans and not others? What is the rhyme or reason inside the alien mind? Can the humanoid selection of the otherworldly eye of the beholder ever really be understood? If you or anyone you know has any information on this mystery, please call the phone number at the end of this broadcast. As for Roberta, she says she'll just keep on working to represent aliens in our modern world.
Don't even bother turning on your TV set. They had just started to put that Mork and Mindy on. It's all bunk. They aren't like that at all. Not even close. Now, the new Ridley Scott movie is somewhat more accurate, but they aren't nearly that mean. Star Trek is totally wrong as well. Green blood? Oh, please, don't make me laugh. Still, I keep going to the conventions because I found my people. We meet up every year. I'm just gonna keep trying and keep waiting until they pick me. We all know they're out there.
Support the bands at mhfb.org/get involved.
Up next, a case of recurring burglary that sent shockwaves through the Midwest for nearly a decade. Always the same item stolen, never an explanation or a motive. We take you to Boise, Idaho, to the home of housewife Janelle Winston in 1989.
Well, first of all, I do prefer the term domestic engineer. It sure is a full-time job. Always more to do with the cooking and the cleaning and the shopping, and don't even get me started on the errands. Hey, Savannah! Get Mama a tab from the icebox. I'm almost out of my RC Cola here, and my nails haven't dried yet.
Janelle believes that for years she has been the target of a ring of robberies. Crimes so cruel yet arbitrary, they defy all logic.
Savannah! Did you hear me? Lord, that child. We just had her birthday down at the Showbiz Pizza, and she still thinks it's all about her. Oh yeah, I was getting to my mystery. It all started about 6 or 7 years ago. Every time I had to do the laundry at the laundromat, I'd squeeze everything into as few loads as possible, since it costs a whole $1 now. Anyway, it's a whole process there. You have to sort and then wash and then dry. I'd look at whatever they had playing on the TV while waiting. Then I'd get it on home, and wouldn't you know it, I began to be missing a sock. Just one. It started even before I was married. Always one sock. And never any of the old ones with the holes in it either. No ma'am. Always one of the best socks. But then again, if I was gonna steal something, I guess I'd choose the quality ones too, not a ratty old one with holes. So that part makes sense.
At first, Janelle's accusations were met with suspicion and disbelief. However, her confidence in the truth has never wavered.
Well, of course, Earl didn't believe me when I finally told him years later. Blamed it on me. Said I was probably too caught up watching the TV set they have down there and accidentally left a sock behind. He asked me what was playing that day, and I should have thought to lie, but just didn't get there fast enough. Top Gun, I told him. He said, well, there you go. Problem solved. Case closed. He knew Top Gun would have distracted me, and I wouldn't have been paying too close attention.
Top Gun? It sounds like Earl's lost that lovin' feelin', and our mystery deepens.
Okay, true confessions time. Top Gun was my last and first dates with 2 different guys. I went and seen it on opening night with Tommy, my ex. He was the real deal. He had a beeper, everything.
Sounds like quite a catch.
Yeah, but he thought it was perfectly fine to wear jeans to church, and I was just not raised that way, So I broke that off real quick. You gotta have standards. Fast forward to a few weeks later when this new guy, Earl, asked me to see Top Gun with him. I lied and said I had never seen it. We had a great time, and later on, when we were dancing at the bar, the theme from the movie came on. Take my breath away. Well, I was just feeling pretty as a peacock. From that moment on the dance floor, we knew it, and ever since, that's been our song. Engaged soon after, then married. Then Earl Jr. came along, and all the other kids, one after another. My point being, over the years, that has multiplied into a whole heaping pile of socks. If I were on The Price is Right, and the only game was guessing the prices of socks, there'd be no contest. You better believe I'd keep that little yodeler safe and sound on his mountain. I'm so used to having to budget for those suckers, because somebody keeps stealing my socks! Can we go to commercial?
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Learn more at mhfb.org.
So where was I? Oh yeah. After that one incident, I swore to Earl I'd do a better job of checking, and I have. No matter what is playing up on the TV, I always stop and pull my head fully into that dryer when I am done to make sure I am not leaving any socks, period. Even that one time I got to the laundromat so late with all the rush hour traffic, and I wanted to hurry home in time to see if Val would get her twin babies back on Knott's Landing. I still took the time to thoroughly inspect the dryer, all MacGyver style. You see, good for nothing Earl could never figure out how to tape something on that VCR, so I knew I had to hurry to catch it in time. Even then, no socks left in the dryer, but sure enough, whenever I was folding it all at home during the news, there was a sock missing. Still, never fails.
Laundry and larceny. Why a sock? Why only one? And why her? Was there one culprit or a string of copycats? Janelle continues to be baffled to this very day.
Savannah! Get Mama her Virginia Slims, baby. Mama's getting upset. I don't know what else I can try. I've tried other laundromats. Just last month, I drove to a new county. Totally different type of people. They had the TV in there on a totally different channel I hadn't seen before. This new group, Milli Vanilli, was up on there singing, "Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, 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 ooh." They were good. I'm predicting they will go far. Mark my words, they'll have a career that'll span a good 20, 30 years. You heard it here first. But anyway, still a sock missing when I got home. So this is a crime that spans all walks of life. Like last week, I decided to cross the state line, thinking it could just be a local crime ring, you know? I found this laundromat down in Nevada, and they had that new Roseanne on. Ugh, she is so loud. I don't think it'll get a second season. So I explained to Earl, that is proof that there's no way I was distracted by the TV that time. I was not interested in her whining at all. And don't even get me started on that theme song with the saxophone, pure smut. It might as well be music for a striptease, but still, when I got home, one sock short. This must be a network of international dealings or something.
Believing there to actually be several laundry-related conspiracies, Janelle is now convinced that she is not alone.
There's gotta be others. Can't just be me. We have to start raising our voices to end these conspiracies. I think they must be trying to hypnotize you with the clothes spinning round and round and round in those dryers so you don't catch on to what they do. It all leaves me with a lot of questions. Like, you ever notice how dryer lint is always gray? No matter what colored clothes you put in there, prints, plaids, solids, neons, the lint, it always comes out gray. What is up with that? Just exactly what chemicals are they pumping into our clothes in them dryers? And another thing, how in the world does dry cleaning work? They don't let you watch, but somehow they get the stains out. That's some hocus pocus right there. How in the hell can you get wine stains out through a dry process? What on earth are these people doing to our clothes? It all just baffles me. But I will keep asking these hard questions. I will keep searching. I will keep speaking up. Because I just can't keep paying for it anymore.
Such a tragic and futile fate. If you have any clues to help out Janelle or others like her in domestically engineered woes, please call the number at the end of this broadcast.
Update. After refusing to buy her a washer and dryer, Janelle has recently left Earl Winston. She's still losing socks, but she is convinced she will get the last laugh when Earl attempts to do his own laundry. Janelle still resides in the Boise area, looking for a man who likes to go line dancing, watch Knott's Landing, and who also happens to own his own washer and dryer. After the break, a case of demonic possession.
Make a donation at mhfb.org/donate.
next, a tale of demonic possession that defies explanation. Clayton Townsley is a pop culture collector who grew up in Topeka, Kansas.
It all started when I got a model set of Kit from Knight Rider on my birthday. Then I branched out into Star Wars, Masters of the Universe action figures, and Transformers. I just had to have them all.
Creepy crawlies, Teddy Ruxpin, Cabbage Patch Dolls, G.I. Joe, Smurfs, My Buddy, Happy Meal toys, Garbage Pail Kids. Clayton collected them all and kept them in pristine condition. But when it was time for him to head west in 1998 for college, he was determined to bring his collection with him. What started off as a dream quickly became the stuff of nightmares.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in the dorm for a few days. I had checked in, unpacked, I met my RA, who gave me all this welcome swag. Go Buffs! And he told me the guy that was supposed to be my roommate got mono, and he had to defer a semester. So that meant my entire room was mine. I could set up all my collectibles across the side of the room.
Soon after, the terror began in room 23.
Well, this one night, before classes started, I invited this guy over. We were just chilling and watching the tube for a while, then something weird began to happen. It all started with the Smurfs.
Figurines and keepsakes, or memorabilia that quickly became monstrosities.
I began to see their eyes glowing. Bright red, which looked really weird against their blue skin. It started with Papa Smurf, and then all of them. At first, I thought I was being paranoid. I mean, I was living in a new city, just down the street from that John Benet Ramsey house after all. I figured that's what had spooked me, but then other figures began to move. I knew my friend knew something was going on too.
After extensive research, we have tracked down the man in question. He agreed to appear only if his identity were protected. Tonight, he is known merely as Brian.
Yeah, I remember Clayton. We met in the dorm room computer lab. He invited me over to watch the finale of Seinfeld. Well, you know, I didn't know anyone yet, so I just grabbed my welcome basket and headed on over. I had nightmares of that night for years to come.
Incredible! No soup for you! More like no sleep for you.
To this day, Clayton swears it was the Smurfs. But I noticed the G.I. Joes first, those action figures. It looked like they were playing leapfrog, just jumping over each other, gyrating, then just falling down. They were definitely moving.
Soon, they all became possessed. Brian only saw the G.I. Joes dancing together, but I seemed to notice everything else going crazy. Transformers wheeling up and down the walls, Garbage Pail Kids cleaning up after themselves, the Smurfs chanting their theme song, but creepier, with their beady red eyes. And my Star Wars figures, they started talking, like speaking in tongues or something. I don't know, Klingon maybe?
You don't know how many times I tried to explain to him that Klingon is a Star Trek thing. Star Trek! There is no way that a Star Wars character would be speaking a Star Trek language. I mean, you know, does it even really matter now? Does it even really matter, given the way that night ended?
Finally, at some point, my Teddy Ruxpin began to play. Totally. There was like no cassette in the player, but somehow I heard Fight Club read by Val Kilmer, even though I'm pretty sure I left that book on tape back home. Well, that was too much. It was hard to move because we were in shock. Finally, we just had to run out of there.
That bear was terrifying, man. It sounded more like gremlins or something. I don't know where we ended up. We both just started running and running. I just don't know where.
We just kept going. We didn't stop at the dining hall or anything. No dinner. Good thing we loaded up on those delicious brownies that R.A. put in our welcome baskets while we were watching Friends. I can't recount for anything until the next morning.
After the events of the evening, Clayton moved to a different dorm, and his RA was mysteriously fired before classes even began. Unable to cope with the sheer horror of the night, the man known as Brian dropped out of college altogether. Clayton had exorcisms performed on his collection by priests, rabbis, and shamans. And while he never returned to room 23 again, his collection remains largely quiet. This incident was enough to ruin a budding relationship, inspire insomnia in a youth, and destroy futures. And the incident remains largely unexplained.
Before he left, Brian apparently told everyone on campus that I wore socks with sandals, and no one wanted to meet up with me again. Totally. It was totally embarrassing. If you can help me solve this mystery, please call in. To this day, I still cannot watch Seinfeld or Fight Club, for that matter, but at least I still have my figurines.
Help support our mission to engage, excite, educate, and entertain.
Cue music. Spooky Mysteries crew set. Okay, Stack, we're live in 3, 2, 1.
Hocus pocus, sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors, razzle dazzle. Americans have been fascinated by stage magic and illusionists for decades. In the Spooky Mysteries First, we bring you a live broadcast from outside Pasadena, California, where Bobby Lynn Logan has a magical mystery all her own.
Hi, I'm Bobby Lynn, and I was a fan of Hocus Pocus right from the start. I even bought a copy of the VHS as soon as it came out. I wore that one out, and then I had to buy another copy and another until DVDs came out. Well, I have a black cat named Thackeray Binks, just like in the movie. I dress up as Winifred every year for Halloween, and my go-to karaoke song is I'll Put a Spell on You that Bette Midler sings. You know, when all the adults are in the gymnasium dancing. Yeah, I say it's a fry, come on baby, up and die. Well, the best experience of my life was when I got to go to a Hocus Pocus convention in Salem. They had so much stuff, but they had the original vacuum cleaner that Kathy Najimy wrote on in the movie. I just had to have that. I got into this bidding war with some man, but after I maxed out 3 credit cards, that baby was mine. I luckily remembered to bring a Sharpie, so I got all of the actors to autograph it for me. Let's see, I got 2 of the 3 witches, Thora Birch, and the actor that plays Max. You know, he was J.R. Jr. on Dallas all those years. Yeah, that was so rad. But those barbarians in the airline, well, they smudged one of the signatures. Luckily, it was just one of the bullies, and all the major actors were still intact. That thing was my pride and joy. Best thing I ever bought in my entire life. Until my numbnut cousin put it out for our garage sale. Can you believe it? Somebody bought that thing for peanuts and toted it off like it was just some regular vacuum cleaner and not the piece of historic memorabilia from Hollywood that it is. I was devastated. I mean, she couldn't even remember who it was. Just some woman who sort of looked like Tarna Harding. Well, there it is. My mystery. Can anybody out there help me get it back, please? Does anybody know a Tanya Harding lookalike from Modesto who was very concerned about the cleanliness of her carpets back in 1994? I got some money saved up, and I definitely can offer a reward of...
Wait. No. This is a misunderstanding. We're supposed to be having not something about the Disney film. This is about magic and illusionists. Who booked this guest? Turn in your Rolodex.
But the ad said this was about Hocus Pocus. You mean, this isn't a show about the best movie ever made? You mean I'm not getting my signed memorabilia back? I'm in it. You mean to tell me I am not meeting Bet tonight? The wind beneath my wings?
Stack, can you hear us? This lady's losing it. We're gonna pull the live remote. Are you ready back in the studio?
I'm sorry, Bobby Lynn, but This is a show about the paranormal and the supernatural and the unexplained. And this segment's all about the great art of magic.
Yeah, she's done. We're gonna wrap this up here.
Wait. My hotel bill is still getting validated, right?
Back to you in the studio, Zach.
Right?
Well, now that that's settled, we will begin the presentation of Hocus Pocus. Not the Disney film, all you fans out there, but the original Hocus Pocus, a celebration of magic and illusion.
Spooky Mysteries is presented by the Mile High Freedom Bands.
Up next is a story of ambition, sabotage, and ruthlessness in a dog-eat-dog market. The craze of workout equipment, diet books, and aerobic workouts had taken America by storm. And in 1987, budding entertainer Vanessa Collins tried to take her piece, but would her competitors allow her to take a piece of the pie?
Well, I got into gymnastics first when I was just a kid, and then cheerleading through high school, then came jazzercise. I can sing too. What's that? You want me to sing something? I want to dance with somebody.
Ever inventive and determined, Vanessa designed her own exercise program and quickly set off to hit it big.
I was singing at the mall. This idea came to me. A new lifestyle to lose weight. Shortly after, I rented a studio in West Hollywood, put out a call for those wanting to shed a few pounds. The goal was to make some VHS tapes, maybe a syndicated weekly program. I got some interviews and we got started. Shake Your Love was born.
Combining elements of figure skating, breakdancing, the hokey pokey, the Super Bowl shuffle, tap dancing, jazzercise, tai chi, circus performing, Scandinavian folk dancing, limbo, yoga, ballet, line dancing, and the tarantella. Vanessa quickly patented her workout method as her ticket to fame and fortune.
Shake Your Love is not just a workout method. It is so much more. It's a way of life. It's a culture. It's a religion. It's a philosophy. It's identity. How do you do it? Well, you just shake your love. My shakers get it. That's about all I can say about it. Shake your love.
Vanessa's devotees, called shakers, quickly multiplied, and soon she had enough to film the tapes. One shaker even had experience in Hollywood blockbusters.
Well, thank goodness for that new call forwarding, or I would have missed him. He called my studio, but it routed to my house. He told me he was a big fan and wanted to be in it. I could not believe it. He was one of the fighters in the Karate Kid movies, Well, he was only really ever in the sequel, actually. His footage was cut from the first movie. But still, we were all so stoked. I was like, gag me with a spoon. He was going to be my big star. We planned to put his face on the VHS box cover. We even taped him saying, "Be kind, rewind," which was going to be shown at the very end of the program. It was really taking off. This was going to be my Thigh Master.
But Thigh Master it was not to be. Someone was about to give a chop that no Karate Kid star could block.
Mr. Stack?
Yeah?
Wasn't he just in the sequel?
Right. That no Karate Kid 2 star could block.
So, a big part of Shake Your Love was going to be the weigh-in at the end. We would actually zoom in and show the ending weight. Not like those other VHS tapes, you know, where they just flash the weight loss numbers across the screen and you have to take their word for it. Hell, that would be easy. No, Shake Your Love is all about embracing your truth. So we were going to show it, show the numbers with the actual camera. Well, everything was going fine in rehearsals, but when it came time to film, I can't even believe someone would do it.
In an act of sabotage so heinous and abhorrent, someone must have begun tampering with the studio's scales.
I should have known it was just too good to be true. I mean, my fans, we shook it. We all knew we lost weight, but the scales simply weren't reflecting that. It made no sense to me. It was unfathomable. But you know, there were so many haters, so many spies. I've narrowed my suspicions down to two camps. Either that fancy Barbarella and 9 to 5 actress, or, I won't say his name, but you know the sweating VHS tapes guy with the shorty shorts? It just had to be either one of them. They knew Shake Your Love was so much more than their aerobics could ever be.
Vanessa tried different scales, and yet the studio continued to be infiltrated. Scale after scale, all must have been mechanically altered by a mysterious mole. Vanessa soon realized that the attacks must be targeted as well. Scales seemed to be tampered with most frequently around holidays. While this would confound most, she immediately understood why.
Think about it. Shake Your Love. Tapes would have been amazing holiday gifts. Christmas stocking stuffers, Valentine's Day tokens. So it would make the most sense for our scales to be targeted around those times. Now, I need your help finding out who. We took fingerprints time and time again, but nothing. I had to cancel my upcoming appearances on Donahue and Jenny Jones. Shakers started abandoning me, left and right. We had nothing left.
Just who was that mysterious mole? And who was that wolf in Shaker's clothing? And just who were they working for? If you have any information on the whereabouts of the culprit, please call the phone number at the end of this broadcast. In the meantime, Vanessa reports she will just keep doing what she does best.
I'm just going to keep shaking it, you know. I will shake my love for all my life and live my truth. For all my shakers out there, keep shaking it. You'll see me around one day, for too long.
Shake your love, I just can't shake your love. Shake your love, I just can't shake your love. Shake your love, I just can't shake. Shake your love, I just can't shake your love.
Make a donation at mhfb.org/donate.
We leave you tonight with a mystery fit for Halloween. In 1845, Edgar Allan Poe wrote The Raven, which quickly established him as a literary genius. But was his titular character all that he was cracked up to be? We bring you an esteemed professor who will break this case wide open. I bring you Dr. Basmati Miners, professor of zoology.
Without a doubt, there's no way it could have been a raven. I have devoted my life to the study of ornithology, and if you look at any of the larger-bodied species of the genus Corvus, anything from crows, rooks, or ravens, and there is no biological link to any species of talking birds. Throughout my entire career, it has been my quest to prove this fact. I am currently down in South America, studying the parrots of the Amazon, and I finally have irrefutable data to irrevocably proclaim that there is indeed no link between any species in the genus Corvus to any in the genus Amazona. It's all right here. Poe is a fraud, and his so-called raven, an imposter.
And there you have it. Strong allegations against one of the greatest novels in American literature. What next? Moby Dick is actually a shark? Was it actually a tale of 3 cities?
I mean, it could have been a macaw, a parakeet, a cockatoo, a starling, or even the Australian magpie. But never a raven. If he wanted his feathered character to speak, Poe simply could have gone with parrot. It would have been the logical choice. Think about it. Raven, parrot, both 2-syllable words, both with the emphasis on the first. Which makes me wonder, what is really going on here?
Indeed, for a poem that's all about meter and rhythm, substituting parrot for raven would have fit Poe's trochaic octameter perfectly. What sort of deceit was in operation here? What sort of conspiracy was in play?
Why raven over parrot? The question keeps me up at night. It haunts me. I just can't parse this one out. My only hypothesis is, well, that the Baltimore Pats would not have made a good team. I mean, think about it. How do you pick your jersey colors when your mascot's a parrot? So maybe the NFL instituted this whole cover-up.
Update. After our initial broadcast, many in the scientific community have come forward alleging that, indeed, ravens can be trained to talk, specifically those in captivity. Dr. Basmati has been unavailable for comment, and we have not been able to reach any of his staff. We'll keep trying, but in the meantime, here is our very own narrator, Reginald Burton, with the dramatic reading of The Raven for you to enjoy.
Once, upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, as I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Distinctly I remember, 'twas in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow. Sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you." Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore?" This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, one with many a flirt and flutter. In there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady perched above my chamber door. Perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. Perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this heavenly bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon the sculpted bust above his chamber door, with such name as nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on that placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then, upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent thee, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore. Desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore. Is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore. Tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore.
Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope that dramatic reading doesn't make you too scared of things that go bump in the night, or ghouls, or goblins, or
Phantoms?
Spooky Mysteries is presented by the Mile High Freedom Bands.
For every enigma, there is a solution. For every disharmony, there is resolution. For every puzzle, there is a missing piece. For every equation, there is a solution. Perhaps this time, the solution is you.
Hi, I'm Derek Gabriel, Artistic Director of the Mile High Freedom Bands. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast of the 10th Annual Spooktacular Spooky Mysteries. It's a world going crazy, isn't it? One of the things I've heard the most over the past couple of months from people is, well, whoa, spooky's not going to happen, is it? Well, I hope we've shown you tonight that even in these weird times, spooky can still happen and the Mile High Freedom Bands can still produce an amazing performance for you to be a part of. Now, of course, we all want to be together. It would have been so great to have you behind me here in the seats and have the band in front of me. But until that's possible, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing whatever we can to keep bringing music to our community, to keep bringing our members together, keep bringing our friends and audience members together, and keep alive the mission of the Mile High Freedom Bands, which is to support the LGBTQ+ community and our allies through our musical events and performances. To everyone watching the broadcast tonight, thanks for being a part of the 37th season of the Mile High Freedom Bands. To everyone who's making a donation, thank you for helping ensure that we can continue to thrive through this time and beyond. And a moment for my personal thanks to every member of MHFB who's been a part of the organization for 37 years past and who has continued to be a part of this organization today. Thank you. Thank you for lending your talents. Thank you for being open to new experiences. And thank you for continuing to share your music with the world. Until we all get to be back here together and the music rings through these rafters, we hope you stay happy and healthy and you enjoy the show. Have a wonderful evening.
An eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
He did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast, the ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sounds. Igor on chains, backed by his baying hounds. The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker Five.
They played the mash.
They played the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They played the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They played the mash.
They played the monster mash. Out from his coffin Rex's voice did ring. Seemed he was troubled by just one thing. Opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?"
It's now the mash.
It's It's now the Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
And it's a graveyard smash.
It's now the mash.
It's caught on in a flash.
It's now the mash.
It's now the Monster Mash. Now everything's cool. Drax a part of the band, and my Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, tell them Boris sent you.
Then you can mash.
Then you can Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
And do my graveyard smash.
Then you can mash.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Then you can mash.
Then you can Monster Mash. Mash. Easy boy, you impetuous young boy. Mash good.
Monster Mash. Monster Mash. Monster Mash.
How's the song go again?
Bakadam, bakadam, bakadakadakada.
You can see your spit roll up. So gross.